Hey, this is Eric from Handyman Eric. I'm going to show you a repair that you might like to do yourself, or you might like to have me do for you. This is something that's very common on cabinets, cabinet drawers in particular, that were installed in the 80s and the 90s that were not done properly. So this is a fine example of a cabinet drawer that was not installed properly. You're looking at the back side of the drawer front. On the front of the drawer, you have this finished face, okay, which covers the door opening and overlaps the door opening. So when the working part of the drawer is shut, this is flush to the surface of the cabinet that the drawer is mounted in. All right, and even in this shot here, you can begin to see the problem that we're having. There's separation now between the working drawer body and this decorative faceplate. All right, you can see that gap right there. All right, there should be no gap there. All right. So the culprit are these two outer screws here. And the reason that they are not keeping this flush is that these screws are meant to be used to adjust the position of the faceplate. They are not meant to provide long-term structural support. All right? So before I even took this out, I used a level to make sure that this faceplate was aligned with the other drawers that were in this. It's a desk that sits inside my kitchen. All right, so that's important, because that means that these are at least positioned properly, even though they've allowed separation. The adjustment that these provide is for the basically the up, down, and left, right of this faceplate. These two are mounted before any other screws are added to this. These two interior screws that you see here hold the handle on, and they are actually the only thing right now that's providing strong structural connection between this faceplate and the drawer body. So again, this is in the correct position, so I'm going to add some additional structural screws now to make this firm, and then I'm going to show you what's going on. But I want to make sure I add those structural screws first, because this is properly aligned. So what I have to do that is I've got a couple of drills here. I have a 1/8 inch bit. That's going to be used just to drill the hole through this piece here, okay? And then I have a finer 5/64 inch bit, which is going to actually penetrate this decorative part here. And finally, I have a 3/8 inch bit, which is going to provide the countersink. The screws I'm using are number 8, 1 1/4 inch screws. All right, flathead Phillips screws. I've got a piece of tape here, which I'm going to use later when I actually disconnect this, just to show you what's going on. And I'm using that to indicate which side is up on this decorative plate. I've got a mallet that's going to come in handy. We'll see that. And to add additional structural support, not for this particular repair, but just to beef up the strength of the working drawer, I'm using 18 gauge brad nails and an 18 gauge nailer. And these are 1 3/4 inch brad nails. All right, so let's take this, let's put these in. You want to put in 4 screws on the 4 corners, basically. I've got a piece of tape here that I use to make sure I don't actually penetrate the face. Similarly, I've got a piece of tape here on my 1/8 bit, and that's going to be broad enough to allow this to go in and not make any frictional contact with this lighter piece of wood here. And I'm just letting the drill follow the follow the 5/64 holes that I drilled. So again, this was a 5/64 bit, and this was a 1/8 bit. And now I'm going to swap this guy out just so that I can countersink these flathead screws so that they sit flush. I don't want to get carried away with this. All right. Really pulled it tight. Looks a million times better already. These are sitting nice and flush, and the gap is basically gone. I could maybe crank it a little bit more. I also don't want to shear these screws off, so I'm going to be pretty careful about that. So for this part, I'm going to switch to good old-fashioned manual. Yeah, I really don't want that to go any tighter. Okay, that one had some additional tightening, and that did seal it up. So yeah, I like to finish with a manual. And oh, I forgot, another piece of equipment is a nice little vacuum. Get rid of all that debris. Okay. Now, I've got my holes. Obviously, once I put these in, the repair is basically going to be completed at that point. But I want to show you what's going on, and for that, I've got to take this apart. So, you would not normally be doing this part if you do it yourself. Again, this is all predicated on the fact that this faceplate was properly aligned using a level compared to the other faceplates on the other drawers that were in this kitchen desk. All right, so we're taking it all apart. So you might be asking, how could it be that the drawer came apart? Why did the faceplate warp and come away at the edges? And here's the culprit. These guys right here. Now this guy was sticking out even more, but I think you can see here that this is a little bit proud of this surface. These are adjustment inserts, and there's a loose little piece of threaded metal in there. If I attach this screw to it, you'll see that this actually moves around. So there's a little bit of up, down, and left, right movement inside of this. And the idea here is that you mount this on the front of the drawer, okay, and that you tighten this down to the point that there's enough friction, there's enough tension, the surface is pressing down hard enough that gravity won't simply pull it down, all right? And so what that lets you do then is it lets you take a level or a straight edge and line this faceplate up, either with proper level, or if you've already got other drawer fronts installed, make sure that it's in line with the other drawer fronts before you tighten these down any further. But this is the part that the installers leave out. If your house was slapped up in a hurry, they leave out these additional structural screws. You can see my two holes here and here. These are the screws that I just added back here. All right, that's what's actually keeping this drawer connected. Okay, and then you do have the two screws internal, which attach the handle, and that's why the middle of the drawer was flush, because these are providing structural support, but these plastic inserts are never meant to have a lot of pressure or pull, tension applied to them, because the plastic will slide right out. This is not glued in. This is just a friction fit, but these will come out. So these are never intended to provide the structural support. You're supposed to add a screw in all four corners. So there you go. That's the repair. I'm just gonna put it all together now that you know how it works. and what the problem is. Let me know if you've got any questions, or give me a call if you'd like me to take a look at yours. 908-295-5396. So 2 screws for the handle. Okay, and there's the finished result. Okay, thanks a lot.